sports card collecting isn't just for experts or big spenders. It's for everyone. Whether you are 11 like the kid that just found the Paul Skeens 101 in LA, or you're 80 or 95 or 111, doesn't matter, right? Or if you're on a budget, or if you're just getting started. I'm here to show you why this hobby, this sports card hobby, is way easier to jump into than I guess than you may think, or than you might agree on, whatever that could be. And what I first wrote down was, how can you start small? And why is it important to start small? Small budgets are okay. 90% of us have small budgets because nowadays, sports cards, they're so expensive. Just finding a blaster box is $35. Finding a mega box is $50 or $60 if you can get them, at a normal price. Sometimes you have people flipping these things and they're worth $100 or whatever that could be. So starting small is very important because you don't want to get overwhelmed when you first start out. And small budgets, like I said before, are okay. It's okay to have a small budget. You can make do with a small budget more if as long as you spend your money wisely. And there are some things you can do to with your small budget that when you're starting small could help you out. And you can find starter packs. I know all the time retail has like starter packs, like their packs like variety packs or fat packs that haven't sold, or maybe they're older cards and they're like on sale for like $10. You can get 50 cards for $10, which is a great deal. And a lot of times retail has that, Walmart, Target, or things like that. Even dollar bins at local card shops, or even dollar bins at sports card shows or things like that. You can find a lot of good things that you want in a dollar bin. I can go through a dollar bin and maybe find 50 cards, and they may give it to you for $30, and they might give you a pretty good discount just to get the dollar stuff off of their hands. And you can find some pretty good parallels, some pretty good inserts, and it's really like buying singles, but you can buy them, dollar packs, and you can find a lot of good things in these things because when you buy a blaster box or you buy a mega box, you don't really know what you're getting. You kind of know, like, maybe I'm getting blue prism or whatever, right? But you don't really know exactly what you're going to get. So it's all like the chase. Now, I'm not saying not to go out and don't buy blaster boxes, don't buy hobby boxes, things like that, because you want to rip things sometimes too, and it's all about ripping and having fun and all that stuff too. But I mean, if you're trying to start small, I probably would try to go towards the dollar bins, or even like eBay singles and things like that. That might help you out because you can spend $300-400 easy going into retail, going into these hobby shops, and not getting what you want back, and you want to kind of set like what you want to do. So we're going to get into that in a second. But dollar packs at local card shows, at local card shops, um, budget friendly card shops that are not really trying to rip you off and trying to flip a Topps Chrome update for $100, and they're just selling them for maybe like $60 instead of $50. I mean, that's a pretty good deal, and you can tell by the card shop that when you go in and what they're selling things for on what kind of card shop that could be. Usually like the ones that are in rural areas that are like one shop every 30 miles or something like that. They're pretty reasonably priced. You start getting into these bigger ones that have these big extravagant displays. Nothing against them. They're great. I love going into those, right? But I mean, you have to pay for something somehow. So I mean, they do start charging a little bit more for these boxes that are very, very in high demand. So you have to watch. You have to do your research. You have to watch what you're doing, right? And you can definitely start small. You don't need a whole entire crazy budget of like thousands of dollars a month to start your card, your local card hobby if you're just starting out. Another thing I wrote down was, you have to figure out, what type of collector that you are. What type of collector do you want to be? It's like going to college, right? What do you want to do for the rest of your life, or at least the beginning of the rest of your life? And what do you want to do? What are you interested in? Like even when you're a kid, what sports do you want to play? When you get into high school, you got to choose, do you want to play baseball in the spring? Do you want to play lacrosse? So it's like a lot of things you have to choose from. And even getting into this hobby, you probably want to know, you want to identify what you're doing and what type of collector you're trying to go towards. That's very important on how much money you're going to spend, How much do you have to spend? You want to kind of go on a small budget, big budgets. There's a lot of things that are in store for you when you're looking at this stuff, and it's a lot just more than just going and buying a blaster box and come back, because there's a lot of things behind the scenes you have to kind of work out and see if you want to do, because you don't want to waste your money. You want to be collecting boxes for 3 months, then all of a sudden you don't want to do it anymore, and then you spent like $5,000 and all this stuff, and it's just going to sit in your room. So I mean, you have to kind of have like a budget. You have to kind of have a plan on what you want to do if you want to start doing this, because this is not it's not a hobby that is for the faint of hearted. What I mean is, it's not a hobby that you're going to go in there and spend $10 and then get a lot of stuff. You have to kind of sell out some stuff. You can do it with a small budget, but you have to be smart with it. You have to do your research, and what kind of collector are you? Are you a set builder? Like, anyone can do this, right? Are you a set builder that you're going to concentrate on just building sets? Are you going to just try to get some blaster boxes here and there? Are you going to get some singles here and there and try to just build like your Topps Chrome set? Or are you going to try to build like the Kaboom set? Maybe that's a little more expensive, right? But you get my point, right? What do you want to do? What is your goal to do this? Are you just going to rip packs and you don't care about sets and you're just ripping packs and just having fun with your kids or your family, and you don't really care with the cards, whatever it is, just kind of ripping packs and just trying to find that big card? Are you looking for players or player collectors? Are you focusing on a team? Are you focusing on just one individual player? Do I want to get all Shohei Ohtanis? Do I want to get all Dale De La Cruzes? Do I want to get all C.J. Stroud or Anthony Richardson? Do I want to get all Wemby's? What do I want to do? What am I concentrating on? And I just want to have that for my collection, and I can show off to my friends and things like that. So it's a lot of things you want to think about before going out and shelling hundreds of dollars on blaster boxes or singles, or going to a local card shop, because they'll probably ask you the same exact thing. I mean, if I had a local card shop and somebody comes in new, I probably ask them the same thing, like, what is your goal? What do you want to do? Because you don't want to have them come in there and, I mean, at least for me, have them spend $500 and then, not even know what they're getting. So, I mean, it's very important for new collectors to know what you're doing and what you want to do. So, set builder, what do you want to do? Player collectors, or do you want to just collect teams? Are you going to be like an investment collector? Are you going to hunt for high value cards? That's all you're going to do. Are you going to get into breaks and look for high value cards, because you're going to find higher value cards if you're going into a break, or if you're buying hobby boxes? Little things like that, you have to think about, because if you're going to get into a break, it's going to cost you a lot of money. If you're going to get into a hobby box, it's going to cost you a lot of money. And if you're trying to start small, like I said before, that's probably not the best way to get into it. Maybe here and there you can get like get into a break if it's a little cheaper and it's not really like a Topps Cosmic Chrome set, or like a Topps Chrome update set where you're paying hundreds of dollars just to get into one break and pick one team, whatever that could be. So you have to kind of realize that stuff. Maybe you don't even know what a break is. You probably have to research that. So there's a lot of things that are going on that when I was a kid, it was just like getting a pack, going to 7-Eleven, finding a pack, going to a local card shop or a flea market, finding a couple packs here and there, and that's it. Now you got parallels, now you got inserts, you got autos, you got numbers, you have all different kind of stuff that would make you get very overwhelmed very, very fast. So it's very important to figure out what type of collector that you are, because that'll save you a lot of money in the end. So that's what I'm trying to do, is save you money. I don't want you going out there and spending $1,000 like, Sports Card Hustlers told me to go out here and spend $3,000 and I got nothing. So I mean, you gotta be smart with this stuff, right? And I'm trying to hopefully help you guys out when you're doing this, because don't be like me and going into the stores and being impulsive and seeing like, oh, look at all the prisms there, I'm going to buy all the, and don't go crazy, right? And don't go crazy. It's very important. Accessibility of the hobby, what I wrote down, is another thing. Like if I'm starting out, if collecting is so easy, right? It's not just for experts. Anybody can do it, right? You have to know the accessibility of the hobby. And that just means like it's very easy to get started, but if you've heard of like in 1993, 4, 5, early 90s, the wax pack era where there's just like overprinting of cards, are we in that now? Like if you look at cards now, usually not all the time, like half the time you might find a numbered card. The problem with numbered cards are I may have this exact same card and this numbered card, and the only thing different is the number on there. It's the exact same card here. It's just like, is that wax pack era version 2? Like, I don't know why they do that. it just seems like it's like, oh, I got a number card, but it's the same as that card I got here, just doesn't have a number on it. So it's like so that bothers me a little bit because I don't like that. But you have to watch out when you're doing these things. But accessibility of the cards, it's very easy to get started. But that could be a reason on Wax Pack Era 2. And then what's that going to happen to the future? Is that going to make the card values less than it would have been pre-COVID? Things like that. And then it's going to come back around and like drop off. And then a couple of years it's going to come back and there's not going to be many different packs. And so it's a whole bunch of things that we're in like kind of limbo here with the sports card hobby after COVID hit. And it's been a little bit crazy over the last 4 years, 5 years. And, it was different in the late 2000s. And then, we're going back into like the mid 90s now where might be very, very similar. So like, it's easy to get started with what I'm trying to say and the accessibility of the hobby, right? A lot of stores you can find stuff very, very easily. You have retail, you got Walmart, you got Target. Those are the main ones you're going to look for deals on. You want to try to like, I know Pokemon, like the Pokemon stuff's going crazy now. People are like fighting over boxes and all kinds of stuff, right? Because you're buying this box for $40 or $50 and then you're selling it for like $200 and like it's selling out in like minutes. And that was like in the summertime with the Donruss Optic. People were going around and trying to get that CJ Stroud special card or Anthony Richardson special card, and like the Donruss Optic for football. It was like you couldn't even find them on the shelves. But if you can find them on the shelves, yeah, you get a blaster box here or there and just have it, and you have something to rip and things like that. But like I said before, singles is probably the best way to go when you're doing this stuff, especially if you're on small budget. If your budget doesn't really matter, you might want to try looking for hobby boxes, because in hobby boxes, you're going to get more high valued cards than you do in like the retail, like mega boxes and blaster boxes. A lot of mega boxes, blaster boxes, this is not all the time, but most of the time you're going to find like a numbered card or an auto, but it's like a second tier guy that you might find, right? Compared to maybe when you get a hobby box, you might get that auto of CJ Stroud. You might get that auto of Anthony Richardson or things like that, or a number card of those guys, where you're getting number cards of secondary players or tertiary, I was going to say, but other players that aren't as popular in the mainstream database. So looking at that stuff, it's just like there's so many different places you can buy stuff. I mean, now it's like it was Target and Walgreens. Walmart, but now you got Walgreens. Now you got Barnes and Noble. You have GameStop. You have Ace Hardware. Like there's all different kinds of places you can find stuff. And even dollar store, there was like packs out the other day when I was in the dollar store, and they were like open like single packs. And it's just crazy that you can find these things anywhere, and but the problem is like sometimes it's very hard to find things too, which is a catch-22. But virtual collections, accessibility, virtual collections. I know Panini does virtual stuff. Topps does virtual stuff, like NFTs and things like that. That might be newer for like a lot of the younger kids because they're in the NFTs and like crypto and all that stuff. But maybe they're into that, and you can find these things very, very easily because they're digital, and that's not really up in my alley. Not really expert in NFTs or anything like that, but I mean that could be an accessibility thing that you might want to do and check out if you wanted to have like a digital collection if you're looking at entering or even exiting the hobby. The thrill of the hunt, I wrote down. Now the thrill of the hunt is very important because finding deals is the main thing, right? If I'm going to local card shops, I'm looking to find deals. If I'm going to sports cards or shows, I'm trying to find deals and like make deals with people. I got this card, I'll give you this one for 5 of these or whatever that could be, and you can find some pretty good deals if you have existing cards. You can bring them and then find some deals without even having to spend any money, which is a pretty good thing to do. Not really so much in online. It's harder online. I would definitely do that stuff if you're trading. Face to face is a little bit easier, but you can do it online, right? But finding deals, finding a cool card, that creates excitement, and that keeps you in the hobby for the longer run. If you have kids with you, if you have friends doing it with you, that creates the excitement, that creates the nostalgia factor. And then when you get older, you look back, man, when I did this 20 years ago, so on and so forth, and did that, and now I'm still collecting now, or I stopped for a little bit and came back because I remember how much fun I used to have when I was a kid. Like that's how I got back into it. So things like that is very important, and like look at the kid that found the Paul Skeens, a few days ago, and when he found it in L.A., right? It was his hobby box for Christmas, and they opened it, and he did a couple packs. Then he came back and he like did a couple more packs, and he found it, and that was like he'll remember that thing. He'll remember that for the rest of his life. That's probably the most important thing that ever happened for the rest of his life when he's 11 years old, right? And it's like that probably cemented him as being a collector for life. So I mean that's pretty neat. At least his family too, right? And that's pretty neat for him. I'm glad that a kid collected or got this card. Said like grown up, like us, like it's cool for the hobby for that to happen. It's pretty neat. And that's the thrill of the hunt right there. That's why sports card collecting is easy. Anybody can do it because you can get a pack. Maybe you spend a couple $100 on that hobby box, but that was a Christmas gift instead of getting a PS5, and bam, now you got like a 6-figure card or even a seven-figure card. We don't even know. It's going to go to auction now, I believe. So plentiful amount of resources to get advice. I mean, if you're looking for advice, I mean, I tell my students all the time, man. I mean, if you don't understand something in class, I can go right online, watch a YouTube video, and hopefully help me figure that out, or read about something, or ask a question in Google, and it'll tell you what it is, or things like that. It's so much easier, so much more accessible. There's so much many more resources now than there used to be when I was a kid. When I was a kid, we had the Beckett book, and we're looking for how much money that was, or whatever that could be, and that was it. So I mean, that was so important to look for these things, and the resources to get advice now is so important. You have social media groups, you got Reddit, you got Facebook, you got YouTube channels. Here we are right here, right? And you can improve as you go. I mean, mistakes are always made. You buy the wrong thing, and you got the wrong thing, and you got this blaster box, and then you figure out all these blaster boxes, they stink. Should have got the mega box. So mistakes are made. And that's just for you to learn as you go with anything in life, and that really helps you out. But I mean, there's so many more resources you can get advice with and ask questions about, and it can really help you out on what you want to kind of zero in on if you're trying to start small, or if you're just trying to get into the hobby new, or you're just in the hobby like I am and you're trying to ask and learn about more things that are happening. So, I mean, lastly, not to make this video long-winded or not, right? But lastly, most importantly, is the social side of collecting. So important that at least that we have found here at Sports Card Hustlers is the community, the social aspect of all this stuff, right? Going back into collecting, getting my kids into collecting. Now they're bringing cards to school, not really expensive ones, but they're bringing cards to school. We're putting on their phone, taking pictures of it and showing their friends. And now their friends are hunting for this card. And it's like kind of like how I used to be when I was a kid back when I was 10 or 11 years old. So it's like coming full circle, maybe like some of you guys too. It's really neat, like the community aspect and what you guys comment, and we get back to you, and the great paragraphs you guys write to us, and how you used to do this and do that, and how you found this and found that. I mean, that's what it's all about. Yeah, you can rip packs, you can find cool cards, and then you can sell them, make money. I mean, that's cool and stuff too, because you want to make money in this world. I get it. But the really cool thing is the community, because the community is going to be around forever, right? And you make friends as you go, and you have all these different people that you follow and you interact with, and they feel like your buddy, and you can talk back and forth with them. And sometimes maybe you meet up with them at a card show and like walk around, and like that's how things start. Even with gaming and stuff the same way. You gaming, or even like when you're playing sports, you don't know people on your team, and eventually they're your best friend. So it's a pretty cool thing that this community and this hobby has been. I think it's the most like the strongest hobby out there, just because there's so many different variations, so many people around the world that do this, and you can interact with anybody around the world, and they all have the same kind of likenesses. They all have the same passions as you guys do. And here we are doing videos for you guys and talking about it. I mean, that sets it right there on what's going on. So that's the most important side of collecting when you're trying to do a sports card collector, and anybody can do it. So that's why we kind of did that. So, but other than that, I hope this helped you guys out if you're trying to do this stuff or understand it, or if you're just new to collecting, or you have a small budget or you have a large budget and you're trying to figure out what you want to do. Always research, always do this stuff, and it really helps you guys out. But if you have any questions, let us know in the comments. If you're still watching this video, again, we're doing that insider group. And if you want to know when the release dates are, things like that, comment insider, and we'll give you a link. You can sign up with your email. No ifs, ands, or buts. No strings attached, anything like that. And we're going to send out like probably monthly or maybe like bi-monthly. We're going to send you out, just the email about when release dates are, when things are coming out, all that stuff, because it's very hard to find that stuff online. But other than that, let us know what you guys think in the comments. Let us know what you think you do better or worse, or how you started. Give us some information on what you guys do, because it's really great to read that stuff and interact with you guys. But other than that, let us know what you guys think in the comments. We'll talk to you guys later. Peace out.